The same thing basically pertains to communication and understanding what the true nature of communication is, or what is the primary method of communicating, or when we do communicate with people, what is the actual communication, what is the bulk of the communication, so to speak, and how do we learn how to work from that aspect instead of working from either a very unproductive perspective or by trying to appeal to the smallest part of a communication process because we just don't know any better, or we're just always ourselves and we're always walking around being ourselves, and we don't really take an attitude that says, how can I bring out in this person the qualities that I want to create the behavior that I'm hoping for, or that I have a desire for, as a means of being skillful, right? Because we have this really bad tendency to just walk around being ourselves all the time, and sometimes that works, and but most of the time it can get pretty counterproductive because we just simply don't have an awareness about what's actually happening in certain situations, particularly in communicative processes where there is a clear energetic interaction going on that has kind of a feeling, emotional quality to it, and we're not even addressing that, we're not even acknowledging that, let alone working with it in a skillful way. And the most basic way to look at this is, and this, you can keep this in mind in all aspects of life, particularly as far as yourself and your creative power, your creative ability in life, is to understand that like begets like, that energy, which can be perceived as qualities that are feeling emotionally oriented, act to stimulate through a process we call resonance, that same feeling quality in not only other people, but in animals and just basically in life itself. So the mood or the quality, the emotional aspect of our communication is the bulk of the communication. In most cases is the actual communication. Because as the communication models that we look at tell us, the spoken words, or the actual words that we use in communicating, is only 7% of the communication, and the other 93% is a combination of our body language, the quality of our presence as we're communicating, as well as like the tone of our voice, and the loudness of it, or the intensity of our voice, which creates a feeling experience of the communication for the person we're communicating with. And I've seen this time and time again with people who they don't really comprehend what's going on, and they have a tendency to think that the way to get a point across to somebody is to be very intense when you deal with them. Let's say, for example, that they have communicated this idea with this person already, and the person, it didn't change anything. The person is still doing, so the attitude becomes, okay, I'm going to come back and readdress it, I'm going to come back and communicate again with this person, and I'm going to be very intense in my attitude, thinking that is going to make a difference, right? It's going to be a more effective way of communicating, or it's really going to get the point across, and So what happens is we come up to the person and they're sensing our energy as we approach them, and our energy, we can call it all kinds of things, but the real clean, cut and dry way of looking at it is it either feels good or it feels bad, right? It either scares us or makes us apprehensive, or it relaxes us and engages us. But we approach the person and they've got this intensity going on, and they're talking to this person in a very condescending manner, in a very parental type tone of voice, or in a way that makes them feel stupid, makes them feel incompetent, makes them feel, whatever. And then they walk away, and chances are this is what people don't get. Chances are that person can't even remember what you said once you walk away, because they got so absorbed with the experience that they were having based on how they were feeling by the way you were talking to them, that they weren't even really comprehending the words. They were so overwhelmed with the feeling that they had because of how you were communicating it. So then when the person walks away 9 times out of 10, certainly by the next day, the person can't even remember what was said or what the communication was for, but they sure as heck remember how you made them feel or how they felt as a result. And this is where we get a really great saying that says basically, people won't remember what you do or what you said, but they always remember how you made them feel. That's like a primary idea for understanding how communication works. And the other thing in understanding communication is that whatever quality or state of, attitude that I approach you with and use to communicate with triggers that same quality emotional feeling in you, and the emotional quality that we possess is what motivates our behavior. So all behavior is ultimately emotionally driven. So if I stimulate positive emotions that are, relaxed and enthusiastic and happy and playful and have kind of a joyous feeling to them, then the behavior that person will do as a result is a match to the emotion that they're experiencing. So it enhances their performance, gives them confidence, a good feeling about themselves, and who knows, all the other things that maybe I build into it, like making them feel part of things or recognizing them, that type stuff. But that becomes the energy or the behavior that they then perform out of. So, and likewise, if I'm in a loving relationship and I want to produce loving behavior from my spouse or my partner, then I communicate with them out of the same emotional quality that I want to elicit and get back from them, as a way of engaging them, so to speak, in a pleasant feeling that creates a pleasant state of mind where they're just happy as heck to cooperate, and it becomes kind of like a bonding experience rather than one of resistance and defensiveness and that type stuff, which can so often happen when we think that the way to get people to do certain things is to bitch at them, nag them, point out how pissed off we are or disgusted we are or how no good and worthless they are because they're not doing something. And we think that this is a way to get them to do it, when in fact it's just the opposite, and it's like they will die before they do it. You know what I mean? They get total resistance going, and not to mention that it doesn't feel good. So now it's damaging your relationship, or it's hindering. They now have negative feelings associated with you. You're lowering their self-esteem. You're making them feel insecure. All that stuff starts playing into the picture. But when we could simply employ intelligence and say, the way to get people to do things is to elicit the natural state out of which that behavior becomes a natural byproduct, out of which they naturally engage in those type of activities, or they naturally are inclined to do those type of things. So, but anyway, it's just the basic premise is to always ask yourself, what emotional quality am I embodying? What is my state of mind as I am approaching and getting ready to interact with somebody? Because that's going to determine the nature of the interaction. That's going to determine what I bring out in them, what the quality of our communication becomes, and the state of mind that we both walk away from the situation that determines our behavior, what kind of activities we're going to do, that type stuff. So just practice this, kind of bring it into your life, and as you go through your day, decide what state of mind you're going to be in. You're going to be in a very happy, positive mood, maybe compliment people, have something positive to say, even in the worst of situations. If somebody's having a bad day, say something that you know is going to make them feel good. And just notice how readily you can completely change somebody's mood or somebody's state of mind just by maintaining, not letting them affect you, but rather you maintain your positive state of mind that you continue to use to interact with them, or as a means of interacting with everybody in your environment. And watch what happens. It's it's almost, I call it magical, you know, it's almost got that, you know, some people refer to it as charisma, magnetism, whatever, but is to understand that when we make people feel good, when we're constantly stimulating pleasurable feelings in people in association with us, or in interaction with us, or in relationship with us, that people gravitate towards us. People, they're attracted to us, right? It's a very attractive thing. They feel better when we're around. They like it when they tend to just kind of gravitate towards us and like to just kind of be near us, because they feel our energy, and because they know that whatever interaction or whatever experience they're going to have with us, so to speak, is going to be a pleasurable one. It's going to be one of a positive nature, or one that's really interesting, and one that causes them to feel good as a result. So yeah, so anyway, just practice, and one of the most primary skills that we can learn in life is to be consciously aware of the fact that we can control our state of mind. We can choose our mood. We don't have to let our environment jerk us around and always be in a reactive state to what's going on in our life. We can choose to be happy, choose to be enthusiastic, choose to be very positive and outgoing, and practice maintaining that state of mind as we walk through the day, and will be like a catalyst for happiness, for positive, you know, beautiful or lovely feelings. And it's like spreading seeds everywhere you go. So just keep those things in mind.